the archives. I'd like us to talk about the timing of that. And the second item is, I think we've also all received a notification from the municipality about vaccine disclosure. So I'd like to get some clarification on what all that's about, which no doubt you could explain. It looks pretty straightforward. It's just, I guess, they're requiring us to fill out the form and send it in. And everybody's got assurance that we're all safe from COVID. So, I mean, and if I move those two additions, can I have a seconder for that?
Yes,
Dave.
I'll second.
Wait, Dave, were you going to add the doors open? Virtual doors open? Were you going to discuss that?
I was going to bring it up on the under the joint meeting with the.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry.
Anyway, we will discuss that. Yeah. Okay, we all good? So, will somebody move approval of the agenda with those two additions?
Okay, I'll move it.
Thank you, Nancy. And the seconder? Roberts.
I'll second.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. All those in favour? That's carried. I better put my hand up. Okay, moving on to, oh yes, item 3, declarations of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Has anybody got anything to declare under that?
No.
I'm seeing heads being shaken, so I guess we're all good on that. And adoption of the minutes of the last meeting, the October 12th meeting. Somebody want to move that?
I can move the minutes be accepted from October the 12th.
I beg pardon? You're moving.
Yeah, I'll move.
Adoption. Okay. Seconder?
Laura seconded.
Oh, okay, thank you. All in favour? I'll take that as a yes. We're good there. There are no delegations that I know of. And there's no actual correspondence that I know of. So moving on to reports / business. The first one up, 7.1, is Heritage Conservation District Charette update. So I think 4 of us trotted around town last Friday, which was a very interesting experience, especially seeing the areas from somebody who's outside the community.
I think it was a very good walk around, and it brought up some good points during the discussions around how we need to be concise about the Heritage District and how we need to have everything locked down in the district, and where we need to have participation from the DBIA and Chamber of Commerce to help with the commercial side, and how maybe we need to reach out to the historic homeowners, how we'd like to keep them historic. And I think it was quite useful to be face to face and talking right in front of buildings, and that I think that could happen again, maybe in the spring, maybe if we had a community walk or interested parties walk when we're doing public consulting.
Okay.
All right.
We will be getting a report from the consultant laying out how we move forward with this. So I think we'll wait to see that. If anybody who wasn't on the tour, if they have anything they want to add. Okay, fine. So is anybody else who wasn't on it have any questions? Okay, and I think we'll just move on to the next item, is the draft heritage permit policy and procedure update. So I would guess that somebody from staff was going to do that. Is my understanding correct?
Through the chair, yes, that's correct. And one has been completed and draft for committee's review and comments. So I'll send that out. I'm going to send that out as we speak. And it's been kept fairly simple. I'll try to capture both listings and designated properties. So I'll circulate that, and the committee can review it and let me know if there's any changes you'd like to see.
That sounds fair enough. Okay, thank you. Were there any questions from anybody who was actually on the tour, and maybe I'm not seeing anybody say, so I think we'll take it.
Dave, should we then review it next time? Is that, or ask our questions next time, next meeting?
I'm sorry?
If Paul is just sending it out now, should
Yes.
we review it and discuss it next meeting? Is that, if we have suggestions?
Yes, I think that will be good. Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess, yeah, if everybody could review it as soon as you can and get comments in, and then we can put it all together for Paul.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've kept it fairly brief, fairly simple. It's the guideline is kind of captured right within the same form. So it's the application form together with a brief guide. So I think it's sufficient, but maybe if you want something more than that, then I'm happy to receive those comments and take it from there.
Okay, great. Okay, thanks. So we'll move on to 7.3. Heritage significant property map update. I guess that's you again, Paul.
Yeah, so we, as community members may recall, the mappings were put together based on impact data. And the impact data have a year of construction built year on it. And so working with our geographic information systems person for mapping to work with that data and map that data. So we selected ranges of years and put those into categories, and then each parcel was thematically mapped via a color based on that year of construction classification or category. So the intent there is to give community members a tool for reviewing properties with the prospect of achieving attributes listings on strategic properties and moving towards a higher rate of a number of designations that might be achieved as may be appropriate.
That sounds good. So I look forward to that. Anybody got any questions?
No, it looks well laid out and a lot of useful information there. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, 7.4 Heritage Conservation of Presqu'ile Property Structures. I'm not I guess that's to do with the panels that are down there.
And through the chair,
Sure.
the intent there was to learn from what we've heard happen at Sandbanks Provincial Park, where some heritage homes were pulled down, that maybe if we were maybe a little more proactive on that issue, that if we could keep an eye on what structures the committee members feel to be of historical significance, the Presqu'ile management plan, Presqu'ile Park management plan does recognize historic conservation efforts for some buildings in the park. It doesn't go so far as to say to conserve them. They respect the value of them or something like that. I forget the verbiage, but they do acknowledge them. And I just thought maybe working closely with the park manager to have an understanding of what budget they're giving per year to maintaining those buildings would be a good proactive measure by maybe a couple of committee members if they were so interested.
Yeah, well, I keep pretty good tabs on what the park's doing because I live here. And they seem, from a commercial point of view, they seem very interested in maintaining those properties because it's all part of the park experience. And in one case, they're actually making money out of it because one's a rental. And I think if they were going to do anything, they might maybe make more of what they call roofed accommodation, which would all be positive, really. So I don't think we need to, personally, I don't think we need to take any direct action now and just keep an eye on what's going on.
Okay, that's good insight. I didn't know if there was a risk of a repeated experience from our neighbors or not. So sounds like your firsthand knowledge is that they've managed those buildings with a great deal of purpose right now. So that risk is very low.
That's correct. I mean, it's not to say that it might not be a good idea in the future to make them aware of conservation practices. And I mean, they've spent a lot of money, not all of it, the ministry's money, but the community raised to restore the lighthouse. So that is an obvious piece that they see as part of the fabric of the park, really.
Mm-hmm. And through the chair to committee, I was also wondering about the Brighton Wildlife Area. I don't know if there are any structures or remnant structures there. I haven't traversed the property myself, but if there's anyone who's familiar with the Brighton Wildlife Area, I'd be surprised if there hadn't been perhaps an original farmstead or something like that there.
I really don't know. Does anybody else have any information? I mean, one thing that may be up there, I don't know, but I'm not sure it falls in the purview of this committee, but maybe some other interest of the municipality in terms of preserving older trees, because in a lot of communities, they identify really old trees with the object of preserving them. Usually they're street trees in the municipality, but in this case, if we own a chunk of land, it might be a good idea for somebody, somebody who's knowledgeable about trees to have a walk around and see if there's anything, any trees that are worth saving because of their age.
Just I comment that Brighton doesn't actually own the Brighton Wildlife Area. It's the Ministry of Natural Resources, I think. Although we would like to own it, but maybe that will happen eventually. I'm not sure if there's any old buildings up there. I've been there a few times. I don't recall ever seeing anything, but what David's talking about with older trees, I'm sure that that could be the case there, but he's right. It's not really part of what we do here.
Yeah.
Yes, it is owned by the Ministry of Natural Resources. You're correct. Yeah. And it might be a leftover set of parcels from when the 401 went through, when the original farm homes were more like along Telephone Road or something. So that maybe there's nothing of a settlement feature in that wildlife area now.
Yeah. I honestly don't know. I'm not sure it would be a fruitful area for us to get involved in. The actual town, or at least the residential side is likely to yield more for our efforts, I think. Anyway, does anybody suggest we do anything about that in terms of maybe having a look, or should we just let snoozing dogs lie?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not seeing anybody.
Perhaps Lower Trent Conservation Authority might be asked if they have identified any important trees or groves in that area, and leave it to somebody else to find them, because they tend to have an opinion on conservation and waterways.
Yeah, I don't know. I do know that the municipality has 2 representatives on that board. So that would be, I think, the direction to go.
That's just, they're a bit of a resource in the area, so rather than trying to create another study or something like that,
yeah.
if information is already available, why don't we use it? But I think it's a future concern.
Yeah, I'm just suggesting that it's outside of our immediate concern, because it's, we're about heritage buildings, not a broad spectrum of heritage necessarily. I mean, if it's a complementary feature of heritage home, that's one thing, but if it's, just in a field someplace, that's
Yeah, I think
okay. I'm going to assume that, we're not going to go put in our few resources to this question. But if anybody thinks about it, feels there are things we could or should do, then let's bring it up at a future meeting. Is that acceptable to everybody?
Yeah, sounds okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you.
Through the chair, I just stood forward the management plan, or the guide that they call it, for the Brighton Wildlife Area. So the community members have that now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I note that there is no reference to heritage other than natural heritage. So I get the sense there are no structures on there of any original settlement nature.
Okay. So we will move on to 7.5, which is one I added on, which is the joint meeting that we're going to have with, just escapes me the name of the other committee.
The archives?
Yeah, the archive committee. We haven't been able so far to arrange a meeting to everybody's satisfaction. I spoke to Beth today, and we kind of agreed that we'll try and arrange something in the new year to get a start on that. If members of the committee could just say what they feel will be an appropriate time, you know, like obviously it'd be, you know, whether we should go next month, January, February, whatever. I think, yeah, I'd be interested in the other members' comments on that, whether they feel we should try and accelerate that if possible, a meeting with them, or are we okay to just leave it into the new year? I'll keep in touch with Beth. One thing I've noticed with regard to the with Port Hope is that they have a virtual doors open. They did a doors open in the fall. They usually do actual physical tours of houses, but they did a video version that you could go online and participate in. And obviously, well, it might be worth looking at something like that. It would certainly build more knowledge of Brighton's heritage properties if we could do something like that with the Archives Committee. I'd be interested in the opinion or any suggestions from the rest of the committee. Nancy.
Okay. Yes, so if we're going to do a doors open, in the past, when before COVID anyway, we started organizing that late the previous year, because then we choose when our doors open is. So I'm not sure how it would work virtually, but you're right, Dave. Port Hope did, I don't know if it was the doors open or whether it was the house tour, the Architectural Conservancy house tour, which I did.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was very good. I did get your link on the Guelph doors open. I really liked the Port Hope house tour. It was fabulous. I thought it was really interesting to anybody going on that tour, that they learned a lot about the property itself. I thought it was really well done. And I'd like to see something like that with the Brighton Digital Archive. So I would like, if we do something like that, then it would have to be fairly early on that we plan this, because again, you're dealing with videos of homeowners and that sort of thing, or property owners. And so I think that's probably a little bit of time, it might be time consuming, maybe, you know, depending on when it is. And or when we have to register, if we still have to register with the Ontario Heritage Trust for that, or whether we can do it on our own. I don't know.
There is Doors Open Ontario that has a directory. There is also, from what I understand, there's a Doors Open Northumberland and Bay of Quinte Doors Open.
That's through the Ontario Heritage Trust. So
Yeah.
that's all done provincially.
Right. Some areas of the province are Doors Open is in May, some is September and October. And I think this year, some were even connecting with October's Culture Days, doing the virtual open doors programs. So we have, we can be compatible with other people in the area and think September, October, and give us the slower summer period to do the video recording, or if we can work with the digital archives.
That's right, but you'd still have to register with the Ontario Heritage Trust very early. So, and then you have to, set up your date at that time as well. So that's what I'm suggesting is, if we're going to do that, I don't know how much time. This is why we really need to partner with the Brighton Digital Archives on this, because again, we're dealing with videos and they have the experience in that regard.
Quite right.
Mhm.
The last time I was on the website, it was kind of vague, but they were talking about having non-physical doors open. And it seemed to be that any community could choose the time of year that they do it, rather than have everything done all in one date or 1 week.
Oh.
But that might have changed by now. I'm not sure.
Does anyone know what's happening with the heritage, with the History Week? That's in February. Do you think that will be held next year?
I have not heard anything.
No,
No.
because they are allowing things happening at the community centre, right? But
Yeah, but the heritage deal that we used to have there, like that was actually organised by this committee and later by the two committees. And I'm not sure really. I don't know for sure, but I don't think the digital archives have done anything towards having that this year.
next year, it'll be next year.
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
again, there's nothing to say that it should always be in February. It's not the nicest
okay.
time of year.
Yeah, it could be later.
Yeah, coincide with Heritage Week. February's Heritage.
Yeah.
So that's why we have it in February.
Anyway, if I can summarize, I'm getting the feeling from the committee, really like to do something along those lines of publicising Brighton's heritage, and more specifically in our case, Brighton's heritage buildings. And we're quite keen on doing a partnership with the archives. And it's obviously going to take time to nail that down.
Dave,
Yes.
if we do meet with them, we could probably talk about the Heritage Week and whether or not we're going to do anything as well. We could talk about both items. It all depends on the rules and restrictions. A lot of it's being lifted, but there's still lots of things that we have to follow in order to have events, and that makes it difficult, especially when volunteers are organizing things. And I think that's why there's still some hesitation to do events. As far as getting together as a committee, I think we can meet through Zoom, but I don't think committees are meeting together yet. So I think that could be a reason why we wait till January. Then maybe we can meet all together in a room rather than having to do it through Zoom. Zoom is good, but not always effective. So I'm not sure everyone's thoughts on whether having a Zoom meeting together with the BDA is effective now, or whether we should just wait till January. I don't know.
Well, I'm personally, I'm not in any rush to have the joint meeting. I'd like to, the main thing is to make sure that everybody's involved and supportive. And, I mean, essentially it's been in a hurry now. I'm not at all sure something of like the previous times we've organized the Heritage weekend. It's taken a while to put together, and I don't think anybody started anything yet. So I'm not sure we could do one in January.
No, February.
And I don't
That
see
we-
any, personally, I don't see any great loss if we just put it off, spend some time with the digital archives and figure out what we jointly want to do, you know, in this whole area, really. I mean, they're up to their eyes in the calendars at the moment, and they do a really expert job of that. So we
Okay.
definitely leave them on board if we're doing something sort of similar. So I guess it all comes down to when we can arrange a joint meeting with them. So,
Well, January sounds good. New year, new start,
Yeah.
and maybe we can have a couple emails between both the committees saying what we'd like to discuss, and people come in prepared with their own ideas rather than having everything drop on the table at one point and have a couple dozen people, or have a dozen people talking around the table and sharing their opinions. So
that's a good idea.
If we do have a joint meeting, I believe the chairs would have to discuss what they'd like, and that would have to be so that the agenda has everything on it that we want to discuss in advance, and if there's any documentation, and that way we're all prepared for the meeting. So I
Right.
think that's the best way to do it, Dave, is to discuss with their chair, see if you can pick a date, and then Tom or whoever would be, handling that meeting, I guess, would put together an agenda that would work for everyone, so we'd all know.
Okay. And I agree with you. And that's basically, I talked to Beth today, actually, and we came much to that kind of conclusion. So if I can leave it with the committee, that I'll keep in touch with Beth. And once I've got a clear idea of when they want to do this, okay, I'll get back to the committee and we'll try and set a date. Is that agreeable to everybody?
sounds
Yeah.
good.
Okay,
That sounds fine, thank you.
so we're just, I guess in terms of minuting it, it'll just be that we discuss this whole question, and the suggestion of the committee is that the two chairs get together and figure out what where we want to go on this whole joint situation. Is that acceptable to the committee? Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So I think we're on to, there's one other thing that I wanted to bring up, and this is probably the best time to do it. I've received, and I would imagine all the members of the committee received a vaccine disclosure form from the municipality. I'm not clear whether we're supposed to print out a copy and sign it and send it back. Can anybody that's closer to the town hall clarify what we're looking at there?
It's probably the clerk that needs to clarify.
Yeah.
Whoever
Oh.
you received it from should clarify exactly. But I didn't think committee members had to, but I could be wrong, because we're not going to meet until we're able to in person. It's for
Right.
if we're going to be meeting in person. But Dave, if I can make a suggestion that you just email Candace and ask her for clarification in your questions, and that way you're getting it firsthand from the clerk.
Okay.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
you can share with everybody.
Well,
But I would.
yeah. Did anybody else get that letter?
Yeah,
Yeah, one email. It's from Jessica. It was from
Oh, did Jessica send it out? There we go.
Yeah, Jessica sent it out. Yeah.
Sorry, if you don't mind me interrupting. Yeah, so I sent it out on, Candace's instructions to all committee members. All committee members do need to be vaccinated as per the rules right now to attend meetings in person. And we have lots of interest in trying to do these in-person meetings, but can't do it without all the vaccines and stuff. So yeah, the disclosure form you would print off, or if you have the ability to electronically sign it, that's up to you, and just get it back to us. But any other questions you would have to contact Candace for.
Thanks,
Okay.
Jessica. That makes sense. So if we do want to meet together rather than virtually, then everyone has to get in their forms, and otherwise we would continue to meet virtually until, right? It's not that we can't meet, but so.
Right. There's also still the option to do, so if some committee members are unable to provide those forms, they are still able to attend virtually with the kind of the same hybrid way we do the council meetings, where there's people in chambers, and then there's also the virtual aspect as well.
Okay, well, it's good to have the clarification. So, I guess we all individually have to decide if you're comfortable filling out that form and sending it back into the municipality. Personally, I'll share with you that I'm very comfortable doing it. I'm very comfortable knowing that others will have to do it. Therefore, when I get in a room with other people, then I'm protected. We're all protected. So, having said my piece, we'll move on. Thank you. Thanks for the clarification. So we move on to previous agenda item tracking, and we've got the Smithfield plaque update. And that's, Nancy, we were working on that, I guess, kind of. And you sent me some material and asked me to sort of draft something up, but I couldn't get those items. I couldn't make them legible, let me put it that way.
Okay, I'll try resending those if you're agreeable to looking at them again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I have a lot of material on Smithfield, an awful lot of material. So would you like to see it even?
Well, let's not take up the time of the committee. We'll come to some arrangement. If you could, do you have a scanner?
Yes,
Okay, if you could try scanning them and send them to me.
will do.
Try one and see how that works then.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. Okay. So the rest of the committee knows what we're doing here. Nancy and I are going to come up with a design for a plaque that celebrates Smithfield, basically. And there was one other Smithfield plaque, wasn't there, Nancy, that you were working to a specific property, the church? No?
No, I'm not aware of anything.
Oh, okay.
Although, if I could, something was brought to my attention about the Smithfield Cemetery, but I don't. It's regarding the Spanish pandemic that happened, and the victims of that were buried in the north portion of the cemetery. But there's no plaque there to indicate who they are or who they were. But it's my understanding through the church that that's what it was, where they were buried. So maybe a plaque might be in order to put there to recognize those victims.
Yeah,
That's the only one. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll have to think about that. Let's
Mhm.
concentrate on the other one first, because that
Yeah.
is a building. It's, you know, again, we're buildings, right? So that might be something we could raise with the digital archives, because they may have stuff, and that'd be appropriate for them to follow through on historical kind of thing. Okay. Oh, so plaque maintenance update. Right. Is there any update from the town side? Or?
So Tom sent me an email, which I can forward along, but I can also just share with you, but I'll forward it along after. Hold on a second here.
Meeting that I attend.
Seem to find my share screen.
I attended the water.
Okay, no, sorry, I can't find my share screen button at all. So I will, but I'll email it to you. For you to view. He's just got about a couple of plaques. He went around and took a couple pictures. And there's a repair quote attached as well. So I will forward that email along to you all so you can review that and then hopefully discuss with him at your next meeting.
Okay.
And sorry, there was lots of people walking by. Did everyone catch what I said?
A lot going on there.
Yeah. But everybody got that? I didn't drown, wasn't drowned out? Okay,
Yes.
good. I will forward that along to you guys.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, again, that's doesn't have a lot to do with architecture and building preservation.
I'm sorry, I just want to say something about, if you just backtrack about the cemeteries, that is under our, what we do, protecting cemeteries. There is a Cemeteries Act, but it's also under the Heritage Act as well. So yeah, so if they start bulldozing cemeteries, that would be something we'd be interested in, or altering it in some ways. It's cultural places, and that's, so
heritage.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Okay, so I guess that's it. I think we've covered the agenda. Anybody else got anything we should be doing? No? Okay. So move to adjourn, somebody?
Oh, do we do next meeting?
Nancy's moving to adjourn, seconder.
Oh, what about next meeting? You got
Okay, we better do that, I suppose.
any thoughts on that or not? Should we wait until January? Maybe.
Well, traditionally we have skipped December. I'm not sure why, but we have. Maybe it's in contemplation of the heritage holiday. But anyway.
Yeah. Well.
What do we feel collectively? Want to meet next month? I'm okay with it. Are we likely to get any more information coming forward on any of these things in the next month?
I doubt it. I would think
It might be a good wrap up if we want to have a meeting, and then we can cross off a few solid things we've done, like the plaques, and we'll hear when Richardson's plaque is installed, and different
Nah.
things like that. And then we can start the new year with a new agenda and projects that way.
Yeah, I'm easy. Anybody else got a comment on?
I think we could wait until January.
That's easy too.
No reason.
No, I'm not seeing anything on the agenda that's.
No, just that we have
Yeah.
to review the Paul's the permit policy and procedure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
um,
well, the other thing is we may need to be, although we could, and it's settling this joint meeting with the archives. That seems to be
yeah,
a timely thing to do. Maybe what we should try and do is schedule that for next month. With the Christmas spirit, we'll all be cooperative.
Yeah.
We can sing carols together.
Yeah, if that happens in December, then that'll be good.
What's the feeling on the committee on that? Shall I see if we can? Or
Yeah,
maybe,
it's not- We all have to get our disclosure forms in.
yes,
And then,
yeah, that's true enough, yeah.
so
Yeah.
that it would be better if it was in person joint meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well, the other thing is maybe members of the committee would feel happier skipping December. And the vaccine question will be a lot clearer come the new year, I would think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Decisions. Paul,
We have-
is there anything likely to be coming forward on the Charette that the committee needs to look at?
I'm not imagining that there would be anything to the chair committee that, but I don't really know what Lindsay might be recommending, so it would basically turn out her recommendations in part.
Yeah. That's the one thing.
We don't have. Yeah, so the having a heritage conservation district study and plan done didn't make the 2022 budget cut. So I don't know how much more we might prevail ahead as a committee and with existing staff in trying to bring something in. But I don't think currently anyway that we're looking at a heritage conservation district in a robust sense through
No.
Lindsay in the new year. So I don't know that we'll have a lot to discuss from her report.
Well, I'm going to recommend to the committee that we skip December and we'll get back together for January.
okay.
Sounds good.
But we seem to have a consensus on that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So, somebody want to move adjournment?
Sorry, David, were you gonna pick an actual day in January? Because I believe the first Monday is January 3rd, but our
3rd.
office is closed.
Oh,
So you would be the 10th.
That makes sense.
Well,
Yeah, okay.
Go for the second week, yeah. January the
Well,
10th.
when can staff fit us in? That's the other thing.
Pardon?
When can staff fit us in? Like,
Oh, yeah, so that, I just didn't want you guys to assume that the first Monday would be good because there won't
Oh,
be
no,
anyone
no.
here.
I don't think people are still very
But
recovering.
January 10th I can put in if you'd like.
Is that acceptable for everybody?
Yeah, as far as I know. Who
Yes.
knows? Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah. Great.
So that's January 10th at 1 p.m.
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
May be subject to change. Okay, well, thank you all. I guess we're adjourned.
Okay. I don't know.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
See ya.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Take care.